Hi guys, Dazzie here again with another episode of my showcase series. This time it is episode 109, and today I will be showcasing the Blue Beetle key issue comic books in my personal collection. Yeah, I've amassed a nice pile of books over the years, guys. I'm going to start with Blue Beetle related books, and then I'm going to get into the Blue Beetle series themselves. But before I continue, if I could perhaps ask you for a subscription, a like, a share, a comment, ding that bell for notifications. It all really helps Milo Grade Productions. Okay, we're going to start with a book from 1985, April of 1985. And this is a great run. And it comes from the legendary duo of Marv Wolfman and George Perez. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue number 1. And there are lots of different Blue Beetle characters. This is the first appearance of Ted Kord. It was the Blue Beetle in Charlton Comics. His first appearance in DC continuity comes in this issue. It's also the first appearance of Alexander Luthor Sr., first appearance of the Anti-Monitor, first appearance of Chorus, Lois Luthor, Pariah, the Shadow Demons, the death of the Crime Syndicate, death of Johnny Quick, Power Rings, Superwoman, and Ultraman. Bang for your buck with this issue. I paid £4.95 for this book in the middle of 2016 on eBay. Of course, I believe there was a recent animated feature film on that. And we also had the Arrowverse crossover, which was a good watch in live action. Moving on, we go to 1987. And this is Justice League, issue number 3. And the first meeting of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle with the Justice League. £1.56 I paid for this one on eBay in the middle of 2016. Booster Gold has always seemed to be quite pally with the Blue Beetle. I believe they teamed up in Smallville back in the day, the Smallville TV show. Of course, we had Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle movie, which I quite enjoyed actually. It was a bit of a surprise hit for me. And I believe he is one of the few characters going to be kept in James Gunn's new universe, along with Peacemaker and the like. But this comes from 2006, this issue, and it is Infinite Crisis, issue number 3. Lovely Jim Lee cover. This is the first appearance of Jaime Reyes, a Mexican-American teenager, and the third Blue Beetle, not in costume. And like I said, Jaime Reyes first appeared in the Smallville TV show. I paid just 60 pence for this book in February of 2020 at the Cheltenham Con. To go with the main Jim Lee cover, I have the George Perez variant as well. Again, just 60 pence for this one back in 2020. And some of these books were going easily over 20 quid with the announcement of that movie. This is a scarce one. This is the second printing sketch cover. 60 pence again. And then we go to issue 4 and another cracking George Perez cover. This is the first meeting of Booster Gold and the Jaime Reyes version of Blue Beetle. £1 for that in R&R Books in Stroud. And then the big boy book when it comes to this little run of comics. Again from 2006. This book was easily over 50 quid when the movie was announced. Still think it goes around about 20 to 30. This is Infinite Crisis issue 5. First full appearance of Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. 60 pence for that one. Bargains. And then we move to 2008 and a cracking cover from Dan Jurgens. This is Booster Gold issue 5. I spoke about the bond between Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. This is the first cameo appearance of Black Beetle. as the Blue Beetle of the 27th century. And this cover is inspired, of course, by The Killing Joke. 50p for that one. Second hand, well, like an antique store in Gloucester. When did you buy that? 2016. Remember when I first started collecting comics, I was just buying basically any DC comic book I could find. Very raw to the hobby. So let's get into the Blue Beetle books themselves, and we start with a book. It's a real banger, and it comes from 1967. This is Blue Beetle, issue number 1. And the first appearance of one of my favourite characters, The Question. Vic Sage. Down at the bottom, there it is. So it's the first appearance of the Squid Gang team and Tot Rodder. Now, DC Glansman is credited with scripting Bugs the Squids, but editor-in-chief Dick Giordano has said they asked DC to use his name as per Ditko's request to not be credited. And Dick said DC agreed. That came in Comic Book Artist, issue number 9. I paid £51.94 on eBay for this book in early 2020. I love that book. One of my favourites in my collection. I remember seeing The Question. It was brought to my attention in the Batman Brave and the Bold animated show back in the day. Okay, so then we go up to 1986. And this is Blue Beetle, issue number 1. The first appearance of Conrad Carapax, who later becomes the Indestructible Man. And he was the main villain of the Blue Beetle movie. An underrated book, so I thought that character was pretty good. £5 I paid for this one in the Malt House Emporium, which is like a second-hand antique centre in Tewkesbury. Got this off from one of my mates. And then we jump up to Blue Beetle, issue 13. That comes in 1987, the same run. Conrad Carapax becomes the Indestructible Man in this issue. £3.50 for this book. Malt House Emporium again. And then issue 15, I picked up at the car boot in Cheltenham. The first cover appearance of the Indestructible Man, Conrad Carapax. I like picking up like these B and C list sort of characters that appeared in live action. And then we skip all the way up to May of 2006. Here we go. From the pages of Infinite Crisis, Blue Beetle, issue number 1. The first solo series featuring Blue Beetle's Jaime Reyes. It's also the first appearance of Alberto Ernesto Reyes, Jaime's father, who was in the Blue Beetle movie. First appearance of Milagro Reyes, Jaime's younger sister, from the Blue Beetle movie. And the first appearance of Bianca Reyes, Jaime's mother, from the Blue Beetle movie. An undervalued book, I think. £3.50 for that one. Pick that up in iCollectibles in Blackpool. And then we skip to issue 3 of that run. And this is the first cameo appearance of La Dama, Amparo Cardenas. And it's also the reintroduction of Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, with a new character design with t-shirt and baseball bat. £5.45 for that one, in Out of This World in Worcester. And the final book I'm going to show you guys is another book from that run of 2006. It is Blue Beetle, issue number 4, and the first full appearance of La Dama, Amparo Cardenas, the leader of a cartel. Now, I believe he was meant to appear in the Blue Beetle movie, but I'm not sure if he did. But £5.45 for that one as well. And I've had 2 or 3 copies of most of these books. But like I say, Blue Beetle is a cracking character. Can't wait to see him return in James Gunn's universe. And thanks for your support. There'll be more content to come. Bye for now.